I once believed that if there was one person in this world who would never betray me, it would undoubtedly be Ethan Chang. He was my childhood sweetheart, the one who grew up with me, who witnessed me transform from a little girl with pigtails into a programmer capable of handling an entire project alone. Our relationship spanned over 2 decades, so solid that even a life insurance policy would seem temporary by comparison. Yet today, at the most crucial product launch press conference for Ethan Cheng's company, he stood on stage in a perfectly tailored suit, not beside me, but beside my stepsister, Willow Jiang. The Horizon project is our brainchild, the culmination of 3 years of relentless effort by my fiancée, Willow Jiang, and me. Ethan's deep, resonant voice echoed throughout the hall. It is the crystallization of our love and wisdom. The hall erupted in thunderous applause. Camera flashes flickered incessantly. Willow Jiang, in a pristine white dress, demurely nestled into Ethan's embrace, her eyes glistening with emotion. She looked as pure as a lotus untouched by worldly dust. Both of them played their parts perfectly. I stood below the stage, lost in the crowd of reporters and guests. It felt as though someone had just struck my chest with a sledgehammer. Our brainchild, the crystallization of love, 3 years of relentless effort. Horizon was an AI emotion recognition project that I had spent countless sleepless nights completing. Every line of code, every algorithm, every data structure was built by my own hands. Ethan, as CEO, was only responsible for attracting investment. And Willow Jiang. She was an intern who had joined the company just 6 months ago. Her expertise lay in making tea, pouring water, and occasionally asking naive questions about technology to appear eager to learn. I clearly remember just last week I handed Ethan the final complete version of the project. He hugged me, telling me I was his goddess, his genius. He promised that at the press conference he would let the whole world know who the true owner of Horizon was. And it turns out he did let the whole world know. Except that owner wasn't me. What a surprise. I clutched my phone tightly, my nails digging deep into my flesh. The physical pain was nothing compared to the utter collapse within my soul. The phone screen lit up with a message from Home Corporation's lawyer. You have been fired for leaking trade secrets and breach of contract. All your system access has been locked. Immediately after, a series of notifications from my bank appeared. All my accounts were frozen. This was a perfectly orchestrated drama, designed to steal my hard work, slander me, and cut off my lifeline. Ethan Cheng, you are truly brilliant. Ethan's gaze on stage swept across the crowd, stopping at me for a split second. There was no remorse, no regret, only coldness and an unconcealed glint of triumph. He knew I was here. He deliberately wanted me to witness this scene with my own eyes. He wanted me to know I had lost. Willow Jiang also saw me. The corner of her lips curved into a smile, almost imperceptible, quickly hidden behind a facade of innocent vulnerability. That look seemed to say, "See, sister, everything you had, from your career to the man you loved, now belongs to me." I took a deep breath, trying to suppress the fury that threatened to erupt. What good would screaming do now? It would only make me a pathetic loser, a spectacle for them to enjoy. I couldn't be that pathetic. I turned and quietly left the auditorium. The applause and cheers from behind me felt like daggers piercing my heart. As I exited the hotel, a sleek black Rolls-Royce pulled up directly in front of me. The car door lowered, revealing a man with a regal aura sitting in the back. His face was sculpted beautifully, but his phoenix eyes were deep and cold, as if they could see into anyone's soul. Caden Jing, a genius investor in the tech world, and Ethan Cheng's sworn rival. Rumor had it they had a deep-seated feud since college. "Get in." Caden Jing's voice was devoid of emotion, curt as a command. I hesitated. Caden Jing and I had only met a few times at social events. We weren't close. "Ethan Cheng just pushed you into the mud, and he wants to trample you further. Are you just going to stand here and take it?" He raised an eyebrow, his gaze sharp as a blade. "Get in. I'm offering you a chance to reclaim everything and even more." I looked into his eyes. There was no pity, only the keen interest of a hunter who had found a discarded, sharp weapon. He wasn't a good person, but he was the only one who could help me right now. An enemy of an enemy is an ally. Without further hesitation, I opened the car door and got in. The car drove away, leaving behind the luxurious hotel where the trader's celebration was taking place. Caden Jing handed me a tablet. "This is everything Ethan Cheng and Willow Jiang prepared against you. Fabricated evidence of you selling source code to rivals, damaging testimonies from bribed colleagues. Your employment contract has a very tricky clause. If you're fired for this reason, not only will you not receive compensation, but you'll also have to return all project bonuses from the past 3 years." I scrolled through the files, my heart turning cold. Ethan Cheng didn't just want to ruin my reputation, he wanted to bury me in debt. He knew me well, knew I was proud, knew I would never bow down. He wanted to cut off all my paths. "Why are you helping me?" I looked directly into Caden Jing's eyes. He subtly smirked, a smile carrying a hint of mischief. "Helping you? No, I'm investing." "Investing in what? I have nothing now." "I'm investing in your intellect and your hatred." Caden Jing tapped his finger lightly on the table. "Ethan Cheng stole your horizon, so you will create a divine realm far greater. I'll provide the money, resources, and connections. You provide the brain. Together, we'll send Ethan Cheng and his company to hell." I looked out the window as the city lights blurred past. The hatred in my heart didn't subside. Instead, it blazed fiercer than ever. "Ethan Cheng, Willow Jiang, you have transformed me from a genius who only knew code into someone who only thinks of revenge." "All right," I turned back, my eyes resolute. "Deal, but I have one condition. After everything is over, I want to personally rip off their masks to expose the true faces of that vile pair to the entire world." Caden Jing let out a rare, refreshing laugh. "That suits me perfectly." He handed me a black card. "The password is 6/8. Consider it startup capital. Find a new place to live, buy some nice clothes. You can't keep looking like a defeated wreck." I took the card, offering no thanks. Between us, it was a transaction, not charity. Upon arriving at the apartment I once shared with Ethan, I found all my belongings strewn out in the hallway. A note was taped to the door. "Get out, traitor," in Willow Jiang's handwriting. I let out a cold laugh, packing only the essentials into my suitcase. Love tokens, thrown away. Gifts from Ethan, garbage. I only took the hard drive containing all the drafts and initial ideas for Horizon, which I had carefully backed up. This was my evidence, my weapon. Pulling my suitcase, I didn't look back. "Ethan Cheng, Willow Jiang, I will prepare the most spectacular fireworks display for you both, bright enough to incinerate everything." Caden Jing's black card was indeed powerful. I swiped it to rent a penthouse in the city's most expensive downtown area. From there, I could look directly down at Ethan Cheng's company building. Watching my enemies from above every day felt not bad. The first thing I did wasn't to cry. Tears are the most useless thing in the world. I threw the suitcase into a corner, opened my laptop, and began the information war. Online, news of my supposed betrayal had been pushed to the trending topics by Ethan Cheng's PR team. Major newspapers simultaneously published sensational headlines. "Home Corporation's programming goddess betrays company, steals trade secrets." "Miss Liu and CEO Cheng, love and career hand in hand." "The truth behind the Horizon project." "The pain of the betrayed." They even released evidence. An edited audio recording where a voice identical to mine was heard negotiating source code with a stranger. Accompanying this were tearful testimonials from a few close colleagues, claiming I was always jealous of Willow Jiang's talent and frequently displayed a condescending attitude. Willow Jiang, that innocent little bunny, what could she do besides make tea? Was I supposed to be jealous of her tea-making skills? I sneered. Ethan truly understood me. He knew I was proud and would never humble myself to explain to the public. He wanted to use public opinion to drown me, to deny me even the chance to find a new job. Just then, my phone rang. It was my father. The moment I answered, his angry, reproachful voice blared from the other end. "Aurora, what kind of stunt are you pulling? Do you know that because of you, our home family has lost all face? Ethan Cheng is such a good person. How could you treat him and your sister like this? Go apologize to them immediately." I listened in silence. Not a single question, not a hint of doubt, only condemnation. I forgot. Ever since my mother passed away and he married Auntie Lamb, I was no longer his real daughter. In his eyes, only his obedient, coquettish stepdaughter, Willow Jiang, was his treasure. "Father," I said, my voice eerily calm, "do you believe me?" A few seconds of silence, then he snarled, "With such clear evidence, how do you expect me to believe you?" "Understood." I spoke only one word before hanging up. My heart, already shattered, now had its last fragments crushed to dust by my own family. It didn't matter. The fewer burdens, the wider the path to revenge. I spent the entire afternoon transforming myself. My long, gently waved hair was cut short to my shoulders and dyed a trendy, smoky brown. My drab office clothes were replaced with sharp, designer outfits that accentuated every curve of my body. I looked at myself in the mirror, unfamiliar, yet full of vitality. The old Aurora home was dead. That evening, Kat and Jing sent me an e-invitation. Future Night Technology Gala. Ethan Cheng and Willow Jiang would be the honored guests, speaking about Horizon's potential. "Coming," below was a note. "Don't disappoint me. My investment needs to shine." Of course, I was coming. Such a good show, how could it lack an honored guest like me? I chose a form-fitting, wine-red evening gown with a daring slit. As Kat and Jing and I entered the ballroom, the entire space seemed to hold its breath for a second, all eyes drawn to us. Kat and Jing, the emperor of the investment world, and the mysterious woman beside him. Ethan Cheng and Willow Jiang were in the center of the room, receiving congratulations. Seeing me, Ethan's smile froze. His eyes flashed with disbelief, then quickly turned to anger. Willow Jiang, needless to say, turned pale, almost dropping the glass of wine in her hand. I savored their expressions. I hooked my arm through Kat and Jing's and leisurely approached them, a perfect smile curving my lips. "CEO Cheng, Miss Jiang, congratulations. The press conference was a great success." Willow Jiang stammered, "Sister, why are you here?" What a strange thing to say. I tilted my head, feigning innocence. "I came with my partner, CEO Jing here. Our guests not welcome here." Kat and Jing's cold gaze swept over Ethan. "CEO Cheng seems to be doing quite well lately, doesn't he? Stealing a good project must put one in a very happy mood." Every word Kat and Jing uttered was like a needle piercing Ethan's dark heart. Ethan's face darkened. He pulled Willow Jiang closer, his voice full of hostility. "CEO Jing, what do you mean? Horizon is the culmination of my and Ryu's hard work. It has nothing to do with outsiders." "Oh, outsiders?" I chuckled, my laugh clear but sending chills down people's spines. "Ethan Cheng, have you forgotten? The server password for the project is still my birthday." "Oh no, I suppose you've changed it now, haven't you? But are you sure you've changed all the backdoors?" Ethan's face changed color. He was a CEO, not a tech professional. How could he know how many backdoors I had embedded in the millions of lines of code I wrote, known only to me? I leaned close to his ear, whispering just loud enough for the two of us to hear. "Today is an important demo for European investors, isn't it? Good luck." With that, I elegantly stepped back, linking arms with Kat and Jing, and walked away, leaving Ethan Cheng with a face that was alternately white and green. We found a secluded corner. Kat and Jing handed me a glass of champagne. "What did you just do?" "Just an appetizer." I sipped my wine. "The main course is about to be served." Exactly 10 minutes later, Ethan Cheng and Willow Jiang stepped onto the stage. The large screen behind them displayed Horizon's interface. Ethan began a passionate speech about a future where AI could understand human emotions. To enhance its persuasiveness, he played a demo video. In the video, a woman was smiling brightly. Ethan confidently stated, "As you can see, Horizon will analyze and tell us her precise emotions." The screen displayed the analysis results. Subject is in a state of extreme fury, danger level 5-5. Recommendation, avoid immediately. The entire hall fell silent, then giggles began to spread. Ethan's face turned ashen. He frantically motioned to a technician. "There must be a slight error. Let's look at the next example." The screen switched to an image of a man frowning in anger. Horizon's analysis results. Subject is in a state of overflowing happiness. Friendliness level 5-5. Recommendation, go hug him. This time, the entire hall couldn't hold back and burst into laughter. The European investors shook their heads in dismay. The demo had turned into a farce. Willow Jiang stood on stage, her face drained of all color. Ethan shouted into the technician's microphone, "What's wrong? Check it immediately." I sat below, calmly taking out my phone and sending an anonymous message to the inbox of the city's most famous tech blogger, who was also present. Ask CEO Cheng about Project Dawn. That's the original code name for this project when it belonged to someone else. After sending it, I smiled at Caden Jing. How's the main course, to your taste? Caden Jing looked at me, a glimmer of genuine interest appearing in his cold eyes for the first time. Excellent. Just as I predicted, the appetizer has already stirred up the party. Immediately after Ethan Cheng failed to restart the system, the famous tech blogger I had alerted raised his hand and asked a razor-sharp question. CEO Cheng, I hear the original name of this project was Project Dawn. Is that correct? And could you share a little about the project's early development before Miss Jiang's involvement? Ethan's face, already pale, turned an ashy gray as he stammered. That was just an old internal code name, nothing special. All significant contributions began when Ryu joined. Oh, the blogger raised an eyebrow, feigning disbelief. But my sources say that the entire core structure of Project Dawn was completed by someone else. That person's name, I believe, was Aurora Hong. Boom, my name was dropped like a bomb in the auditorium. All eyes, from curious to doubtful to gleeful, turned towards Ethan Cheng and Willow Jiang. Willow Jiang swayed, steadying herself by grasping Ethan's arm, her eyes red as if about to cry, her usual trick. Ethan gritted his teeth, his eyes full of resentment, darting towards Caden Jing and me, sitting calmly in the corner of the room. He knew I was behind this, but he had no proof. That's baseless rumor, Ethan growled. Aurora Hong is a former employee who was fired for selling company secrets. The words of a traitor are not to be trusted. He tried to salvage the situation, but it was too late. Investors weren't fools. A disastrous demo coupled with an accusation of intellectual property theft. Horizon's value in their eyes had plummeted. I smiled, raising my glass to Caden Jing. The soup was delicious, too. Caden Jing smirked. How do you plan to carve the next steak? Slowly, I replied, my eyes growing cold. If we carve too quickly, they won't enjoy it. We left the party amidst Ethan Cheng's chaos and whispers. As we got into the car, Caden Jing handed me a key and an access card. The 35th floor of the building opposite Ethan Cheng's company. I've had a state-of-the-art tech lab set up there. All the equipment you need is there. My team is also ready to assist. Aren't you afraid I'll plant backdoors in your system too? I teased. Caden Jing looked at me, his eyes deep. If you have the skill, I'm willing to witness it, but I believe a true genius won't use the same trick twice. He was right. Using the same trick twice would be an insult to my intelligence. I went straight to the lab. This place was even more than I had imagined. The latest chips, the most powerful server systems, it was a programmer's paradise. While Ethan Cheng and his team spent all night struggling to find and patch the backdoors I had left, I, in Caden Jing's lab, began sketching the first lines of code for my new project. Horizon could only recognize emotions. My new brainchild, Divine Realm, would not only recognize them, but also predict behavior and create complex psychological simulations. It was at least 2 generations ahead of Horizon. Ethan Cheng, you stole a mere cottage. I will build an entire castle. The next morning, the media storm truly hit. The blogger's article, titled The Scandal Behind the Horizon Super Project, Biting the Hand That Feeds You, dominated the front page of every tech newspaper. The online community, highly sensitive to drama, immediately joined in. Aurora Hong vindicated, and Ethan Cheng and Willow Jiang, plagiarism, began to trend. Ethan Cheng's PR team scrambled to extinguish the fire, spending money to hire online trolls to smear me, but to little effect. Because someone, an anonymous passerby, had posted a few screenshots on an anonymous forum. These were screenshots of old emails I had sent to Ethan Cheng 2 years ago, titled Preliminary Ideas for Project DN. The content? All the core ideas, the fundamental algorithms that later became the backbone of Horizon. The dates on the emails were crystal clear, long before Willow Jiang even knew what code was. Of course, that passerby was me. The hard drive I took wasn't just for sentimental value. The scandal erupted. Ethan Cheng's company's stock, freshly listed, plunged headfirst, an unstoppable freefall. European investors announced a temporary suspension of contract signings. Ethan Cheng frantically called me. I didn't answer, only sending a text back. Looking for a trader? I'm busy, no time. Immediately after, Willow Jiang pulled another stunt. She posted a long, tearful article on her personal page. The gist was that she and Ethan Cheng were truly in love, and I, unable to win his affection, harbored hatred and deliberately sabotaged his career. She even subtly revealed that she was carrying Ethan Cheng's child, begging everyone not to pressure a poor mother. A clever move, indeed, using an unborn child to whitewash her image. Many netizens, unaware of the full truth, softened and turned to criticize me as a cruel third party. I was about to make a move when Caden Jing called. Don't act rashly. This fish needs to thrash itself into the net. What do you mean? I had someone investigate. Willow Jiang is indeed pregnant. But, he paused, his voice tinged with amusement, the pregnancy is only 6 weeks along. Whereas 2 months ago, Ethan Cheng was on a business trip to Europe for 3 consecutive weeks. I immediately understood. A brilliant play. A massive green hat was about to be placed on Ethan Cheng's head. What do you want me to do? Nothing, just focus on your divine realm, leave the rest to me. Caden Jing's voice was full of confidence. The fire, I'll help you make it a little bigger. Hanging up, I looked at my computer screen, running the complex code of divine realm. Ethan Cheng, Willow Jiang, you miscalculated one thing. You only thought of stealing my past, not knowing that you don't even have THE Chinese letter to look at my future. Caden Jing said he would help me light the fire, and he didn't use a match. He used an entire barrel of gasoline. The next day, a reputable financial magazine unexpectedly published an in-depth analysis of Ethan Cheng's company crisis. The article was very professional, analyzing everything from stock prices, investor confidence, to strategic errors. But in a small paragraph, the author casually mentioned, although CEO Cheng made great efforts, especially during his 3-week business trip to Europe 2 months ago to close a deal with a partner, luck seems not to have smiled upon him yet. A small, seemingly innocuous detail, but for the online community, hungry for drama 24/7, it was an irresistible bait. Immediately, an anonymous online detective on a technology forum posed a fatal question. Wait a minute, Willow Jiang said the pregnancy is 6 weeks along. That means conception happened about a month and a half ago, but CEO Cheng was on a 3-week business trip to Europe 2 months ago. Doesn't anyone else see something wrong here? With one person setting the spark, the entire internet immediately turned into an advanced math class. They calculated cycles, dates, and possibilities of conception with the enthusiasm of solving university entrance exams. The final result was pinned to the top comments. The timings absolutely do not match. The wave of public opinion immediately turned 180 degrees. From pity for the young mother, all arrows now pointed towards Willow Jiang. The hashtag, "Whose child is Willow Jiang carrying?" became the #1 trending topic, surpassing the previous plagiarism scandal. Ethan Cheng, already overwhelmed by the company crisis, certainly couldn't ignore this storm. I could imagine him reading the comments, cross-referencing dates, and his face slowly transitioning from anger to doubt, then to horror. Love can make people blind, but a green hat so big it covers the entire sky, even a blind man would feel it. Sure enough, that afternoon, a familiar Porsche blocked my car as I left the lab. Ethan Cheng stepped out, his face haggard, eyes bloodshot. He no longer had the confident, elegant demeanor of a CEO. Was it you? He lunged, grabbing my arm tightly. Are the rumors online spread by you, Aurora Hong? I calmly removed his hand, lightly brushing off the wrinkles on my sleeve. CEO Cheng, what strange things are you saying? What rumors? Oh, are you talking about the rumor that you're about to raise someone else's child? Such joyful news, why would I spread rumors? You, Ethan was trembling with rage. Don't play innocent. You want to ruin me, I know that, but Ryu is innocent, the baby is innocent. How can you be so cruel? Innocent? I let out a cold laugh. When she conspired with you to steal 3 years of my hard work, was she innocent? When she taped that abusive note and threw my belongings out of the house, was she innocent? Ethan Cheng, don't you feel ashamed saying innocent? I took a step closer, lowering my voice, looking directly into his eyes. I didn't spread rumors, I just appreciate the truth. You went to Europe for 3 weeks, didn't you? What day did you return to the country? You remember it best yourself. How many weeks old is the baby in her womb? A hospital checkup will tell you immediately. Such a simple matter, why are you asking a traitor like me? Every word of mine was like a dagger plunging straight into the growing doubt in Ethan Cheng's heart. He took a step back, his face ashen. And, I continued, my voice full of sarcasm, why don't you go ask your fiancé? Or are you afraid to face the truth? This psychological blow clearly worked. Ethan Cheng stared at me, his eyes no longer filled with resentment but with extreme bewilderment. He turned, stumbled into his car, and sped away like a madman. That night, Kadin Jing sent me a short video. It was from a security camera in the parking lot of Willow Jiang's apartment building. In the video, Ethan Cheng and Willow Jiang were arguing fiercely. Willow Jiang was crying, clinging to Ethan's arm, while he roughly pushed her away and left. The real show has begun, I texted back to Kadin Jing. That's nothing, he replied. I just found something even more interesting. It's in your email. Curiously, I opened the email. Inside was a detailed dossier, not about Willow Jiang, but about a man named Julian Qi, Ethan Cheng's personal assistant. The dossier stated that Julian Qi and Willow Jiang were old college classmates and had even briefly dated. When Willow Jiang joined the company as an intern, it was Julian Qi who introduced her. And most importantly, during the 3 weeks Ethan was on his business trip, Julian Qi was caught entering and exiting Willow Jiang's apartment no less than 5 times, once even staying overnight. Accompanying this were a few blurry photos, but clear enough to recognize Julian Qi and Willow Jiang in intimate acts at a bar. So they were acquaintances. This drama was getting more and more fascinating. To be stabbed in the back by your closest confidant, that feeling must be truly delightful. I spent the entire night perfecting an important module for Divine Realm. When the final lines of code ran smoothly on the system, I knew I had succeeded. Divine Realm was not just an upgraded version of Horizon, it was an entirely different entity, a different class. I looked out the window and saw Ethan Cheng's company building still lit up. Perhaps he and his team were still struggling all night to fix the mess I had left behind. But they didn't know that what they were trying to salvage had long become an outdated relic. My phone vibrated. It was an unknown number. I hesitated for a moment, then answered. On the other end was a trembling, fearful female voice. Is that Miss Hong?" "It's me. Who is this?" I'm Ethan Cheng's former accountant. I have something I want to show you. It's the company's real ledgers, Ethan Cheng. He embezzled a very large sum of money from investors." My heart skipped a beat. It seemed this drama didn't just involve a cheating couple, it also involved financial fraud. "Ethan Cheng, let's see how you get out of this one." The meeting with the accountant took place in a dusty old book cafe nestled deep in a small alley. A middle-aged woman with deep-set, tired eyes, but a glimmer of determination. "I've worked for Ethan Cheng since the company was founded," Ms. Lan began, her hands gripping a cold cup of tea. "I treated him like family, but when I discovered the unusual expenditures, the ghost contracts with shell companies, he didn't hesitate to fire me, citing incompetence, to silence me." She pushed a USB drive wrapped in a tissue towards me. "All the real ledgers, bank transactions, and proof of him transferring money abroad are in here. I don't need anything for myself. I just want that ungrateful person to pay the price." I took the USB drive, feeling its weight. This wasn't just data, this was Ethan Cheng's grave. Don't worry, justice won't be delayed. Leaving the cafe, I went straight to the lab. Kadin Jing was already there, seemingly waiting for me. He glanced at the USB drive in my hand, raising an eyebrow. Not a bad haul. More than not bad, I plugged the USB into the computer. This is a one-way ticket to prison for CEO Cheng. When the spreadsheets and cash flow diagrams appeared on the screen, even someone as composed as Kadin Jing subtly frowned. Ethan Cheng had embezzled over 50 million yuan, a sum large enough to drive investors mad and put him behind bars for a decade or more. "What do you plan to do with it?" Jing asked, his eyes still fixed on the screen. His company's annual shareholder meeting is in another month, I replied, a cold smile forming on my lips. I think that would be a perfect stage to unveil this masterpiece. Imagine projecting these things onto the big screen instead of the financial report. Ethan Cheng's expression will surely be priceless. Jing laughed. You truly are malicious, I like it. He pondered for a moment, then continued, but a month is too long. While we wait, we should add some spice to his family drama. Oh, does CEO Jing have a brilliant idea? The evidence of Willow Jiang and Julian Qi's affair will leak it online, he said, a mischievous glint in his eyes. Send Ethan Cheng a surprise gift wrapped in a beautiful box. Sometimes, psychological torture from private matters is the most painful blow. An excellent idea. The next day, a luxuriously wrapped gift box was delivered to Ethan Cheng's CEO office. Inside, there was nothing but a few blurry photos of Willow Jiang and Julian Qi in intimate poses, along with a printed paper displaying the results of a conception timing analysis and Ethan Cheng's business trip schedule. No threats, just the naked truth. I didn't need to be there to know what happened. According to internal news Jing sent me, that afternoon, Ethan Cheng's entire company heard a monumental argument. The sound of things being smashed, Ethan Cheng's shouts, Willow Jiang's cries. Finally, Julian Qi was dragged out of the office by security, one cheek swollen, officially fired. The drama had reached its climax. And just as I thought, the innocent little bunny, Willow Jiang, came looking for me. She intercepted me in the penthouse parking lot, no longer portraying delicate vulnerability, but a desperate frenzy. Aurora Hong, was this all you're doing? Willow Jiang screamed, her eyes bloodshot. You saw how happy we were and you were jealous, weren't you? You're a venomous woman. I folded my arms, leaning against my car, looking at her indifferently. Happy? Happiness built on betrayal and lies, you call that happiness? Willow Jiang, stop deceiving yourself and others. You're lying. Ethan loves me. The baby in my belly is his. Is that so? I subtly smiled, took out my phone, played a video, and held it towards her. Then the man in this video, the one who sneaks into your apartment late at night, the one you call my love, right after Ethan Cheng's plane took off for his business trip. He must be Ethan Cheng's twin brother, right? The screen clearly displayed Julian Qi embracing Willow Jiang in her own apartment. The video was shot from an extremely discreet angle. Willow Jiang's face turned from red to stark white, then green. She trembled, pointing at me. You put cameras to spy on me. No need for such effort, I calmly replied. Just a small gift from a friend. You see, there are no secrets in this world that stay hidden forever, especially when you cross someone you shouldn't have. I put away my phone, stepped closer, and whispered in her ear. Do you think Ethan Cheng still believes you now? Do you think after discovering he was cuckolded by his closest assistant, he'll forgive you? You're no longer useful, Willow Jiang. No, impossible, Willow Jiang mumbled like a lost soul. Oh, one more thing, I added as a final blow. Ethan Cheng isn't just about to go bankrupt, he's also about to go to jail for embezzlement. I have all the evidence right here. Willow Jiang stopped breathing, her eyes filled with horror. Now you have two choices. I offered my final proposition, my voice as cold as ice. 1. Cling to your belly, share Ethan Cheng's debt, wait for him to go to jail, and raise the child alone. 2. Cooperate with me, persuade Julian Qi to testify against Ethan Cheng, and you'll receive leniency. You can also take a sum of money and leave to start a new life. I looked deep into her eyes. You're a smart woman, choose. With that, I didn't spare her another glance. I elegantly stepped into the elevator, leaving Willow Jiang frozen in the cold parking lot. The next morning, my phone received a message from her. I agree. What do I do? It was concise, without a single superfluous word. Despair had eroded all her theatrical habits. I sent her an address and time. 3:00 p.m., quiet tea house, private room, come alone. At exactly 3 o'clock, I entered the tea room. Willow Jiang was already sitting there. Her haggard face was clumsily concealed by thick makeup. Seeing me, she instinctively jumped up, her eyes a mix of hatred and fear. I gracefully sat down opposite her, pouring myself a cup of Thai Guan Yin tea. Sit down. Standing like that, people might think I'm bullying a pregnant woman. My words were an invisible slap that made Willow Jiang's face flush. She trembled and sat down. "Tell me, what do you want me to do?" She cut straight to the chase. "It's not about what I want you to do." I slowly savored my tea, "but what you want to do for your future and for Julian Chi's child. I'm just offering a bright path." At the mention of Julian Chi, Willow Jiang's body subtly trembled. "First thing," I set my teacup down, my gaze sharpening. "Persuade Julian Chi to testify, to expose all of Ethan Cheng's embezzlement. He was a close assistant, he must know a lot." "This," Willow Jiang hesitated. "He won't agree, he's very afraid of Ethan Cheng." "That's your job," I interrupted her. "You can use love, tears, or the baby in your womb. Use whatever you're best at. I don't care about the process, I only care about the result." I pushed a small voice recorder towards her. "Record your entire conversation with him as a little insurance." "Second thing," I continued, not giving her a chance to interject. "Do you know where Ethan Cheng keeps the company's data backup? Not on the main server, but a personal hard drive where he hides his dirtiest secrets." Willow Jiang bit her lip, thought for a moment, then nodded. "In the safe in his private office." "Good, here's the password." I recited a series of numbers. "It's his mother's birthday. An unfilial person like Ethan Cheng would never think I'd know that date." I looked deep into her eyes. "Get that hard drive for me. Do these two things, and 5 million yuan will be in your account. Enough for you and Julian Chi to flee, start a new life somewhere no one knows who you are." 5 million, that number clearly made Willow Jiang's eyes light up. Greed was her true nature. "I'll do it," she gritted out. Willow Jiang left with a complicated mix of emotions. As for me, I knew I had this chess game won. 2 days later, Willow Jiang sent me an audio recording. It contained her conversation with Julian Chi. Willow Jiang cried, recounting how Ethan Cheng had beaten and threatened her, saying he knew everything and wouldn't spare either of them. She painted a bleak picture where Julian Chi would be crushed by Ethan Cheng's power, left with no way out. Finally, she concluded, "Julian, only Aurora Home can save us. If you testify, she promises us a way out. For me, for our child, please agree." Julian Chi was silent for a long time, finally saying only one word, "Okay." At the same time, Caden Jing also sent me a message. "My assistant just visited Julian Chi and conveniently helped him pay off all his gambling debts. He's very grateful, saying he's willing to repay the favor." I smiled. Caden Jing's moves were always ruthless and effective. A carrot and a stick, Julian Chi had no reason to refuse. That night, Willow Jiang took advantage of Ethan Cheng being drunk at a bar and snuck into his office. Half an hour later, the hard drive full of his crimes was safely in my hands. In the lab, Caden Jing and I examined the data inside. Besides the embezzlement evidence that matched Ms. Land's ledgers, there were even more horrifying things. Contracts for bribing officials, emails threatening competitors, and even a detailed plan to orchestrate a car accident targeting me if I didn't leave the company quietly. So, he had wanted me dead for a long time. My hand clenched into a fist. Caden Jing placed a hand on my shoulder, a silent comfort. "Now everything is enough. Do you want to end it immediately?" he asked. I took a deep breath, suppressing the raging fury in my chest. "No, a quick death is a release for him. I want him to live a life worse than death." I looked up, staring at the computer screen where Ethan Cheng's company logo was displayed. The shareholder meeting, the thing he's most proud of, will be his burial ground. I want him to lose everything right before the eyes of everyone who once lauded him. I began drafting an email to all shareholders and the biggest media outlets with a single title: "Invitation to a special screening, The Truth Behind the Cheng Empire." Time, 9:00 a.m. on the day of the shareholder meeting. Location, the very auditorium where the meeting would be held. "Ethan Cheng, your final stage is set. I hope you enjoy my performance." He called me no less than 100 times. I calmly rejected every single call. He sent long, rambling texts, ranging from threats to pleas, even recalling our old memories, begging me to reconsider for old times' sake. Old times? Our old times were buried by him and Willow Jiang beneath the filthiest mud. Unable to contact me, he resorted to dirty tricks. One evening, as I was leaving the lab, 2 burly men with menacing faces blocked my way. "Miss Hong, someone wants to talk to you." Before I could react, Caden Jing's bodyguards appeared out of nowhere, swiftly dealing with the two men in under a minute. Caden Jing stepped out of a nearby car, placing his long trench coat over my shoulders. "I told you, just focus on your work. The trash, I'll clean it up." His voice held no warmth, yet it made me feel absolutely safe. Seeing his dirty tricks were ineffective, Ethan Cheng tried using family ties. My father called. This time, his voice was no longer angry but pleading. "Aurora, please forgive Ethan this once. Consider it for your father. He promised our family a large investment. Don't ruin everything." "Investment?" I laughed. "Father, he's about to go bankrupt. He can barely save himself. Where would he get money to invest in you? Wake up, don't let people deceive you anymore." How dare you talk to your father like that?" He reverted to his familiar tone. I said no more, quietly hanging up. Finally, the day of the shareholder meeting arrived. I chose a powerful white pantsuit, my hair neatly tied back, and sharp makeup. As Caden Jing and I walked into the auditorium side by side, hundreds of camera lenses immediately aimed at us. Flashbulbs flickered continuously. The hall was packed with major shareholders, representatives of investment funds, and of course, a formidable lineup of reporters from the biggest newsrooms. They were here not to hear financial reports, but to watch a show. Ethan Cheng stood on stage, trying to maintain his composure, but his tightly clasped microphone and damp forehead betrayed him. Willow Jiang was absent. Perhaps he didn't want her to witness his impending pathetic downfall, but he didn't know. He began his speech mechanically, with numbers and lifeless charts. The entire hall was silent, not out of focus, but out of bated breath. At precisely 9:30, as Ethan Cheng finished his profit and loss report and was about to transition to future plans, I stood up. "Excuse me for interrupting, CEO Cheng." My voice wasn't loud, but amplified by the microphone, it echoed throughout the hall. "Before we discuss the future, I think we should take a look back at the past. A past CEO Cheng has tried very hard to conceal." All eyes turned to me. Ethan Cheng glared, growling, "Aurora Hong, what do you think you're doing? This is a shareholder meeting, not a place for you to cause trouble." "Cause trouble?" I smirked. "I merely want to show the esteemed shareholders, those who invested their money here, a few interesting things." I signaled to a technician, one of Caden Jing's people who had been planted earlier. Immediately, the large screen behind Ethan Cheng, which had been displaying his planning slides, went black. A second later, it lit up again. On the screen was not the logo of Cheng Corporation, but bright red text on a black background. "The Truth Behind the Cheng Empire, a documentary by Aurora Hong." Below, in smaller print, "Produced and sponsored by KD Group, Caden Jing." The entire hall gasped. Ethan Cheng's face was drained of all color. He screamed at the security guards, turn it off immediately, get this crazy woman out of here." But it was too late. Caden Jing's bodyguards were already blocking the exits. The technician ignored his frantic shouts. I held the microphone, my voice ringing out coldly. "Ladies and gentlemen, today's film has 3 chapters. Chapter 1, Biting the Hand That Feeds You." Immediately, the screen projected emails, my original sketches for Project Dawn, irrefutable proof that I was the project's true creator. Following that was the video from the tech gala night when Horizon turned into a farce. Chapter 2, The Sky-High Green Hat. The screen changed scenes, displaying intimate photos of Willow Jiang and Julian Qi. Ethan Cheng's business trip schedule was placed next to Willow Jiang's ultrasound results. Incontrovertible evidence of deceit. The murmurs in the hall grew louder. Ethan Cheng stood on stage, trembling, pointing at me. You're a devil." "Thank you for the compliment," I smiled, "but the best part is yet to come." Chapter 3, also the final chapter, is titled The Road to Prison. The screen went black once more. When it lit up, the person who appeared was none other than Julian Qi. He sat in a room facing the camera. "I am Julian Qi, former assistant to CEO Ethan Cheng," he began, his voice trembling. "Today, I will reveal the full truth about his illegal activities." Ethan Cheng went berserk. He tried to rush off the stage, but 2 bodyguards quickly restrained him. Held tight by Caden Jing's bodyguards, Ethan Cheng watched helplessly as Julian Qi on the large screen began his confession of the century. The entire hall was silent, only Julian Qi's trembling but clear voice echoed. All the ghost transactions, the contracts with shell companies to siphon off investment funds, were personally directed by Ethan Chang, Julian Chi said, his face covered in sweat. He embezzled over 50 million yuan, transferring it to his personal overseas accounts. I was forced by him to forge documents and accounting ledgers. Lies, you're lying. Ethan Chang roared like a wounded beast, struggling fiercely. You conspired with that woman to harm me. It's all a setup by you. But his words held no weight, because as soon as Julian Chi mentioned a sum of money, my technical staff immediately displayed the corresponding evidence on the screen. A bank transaction statement, a business registration license for a shell company, an email from Ethan Chang instructing Julian Chi to handle a sensitive expenditure. Ironclad evidence, projected clearly before hundreds of eyes. The shareholders' expressions shifted from stunned to furious. Curses began to erupt. Ethan Chang, you scoundrel, give us our money back. Fraud, this is organized fraud. Call the police, arrest them all. Reporters, like sharks sensing blood, frantically snapped photos and filmed. The moment Ethan Chang, pale-faced and disheveled, was restrained by bodyguards, would surely be the cover image for every financial magazine tomorrow. I stood below, quietly observing the drama I had directed myself. The feeling wasn't one of schadenfreude, but a cold emptiness. My youth, my trust, everything I had staked on a person like this. Just then, Caden Jing gently squeezed my hand. It's done. And just as he said, the grand doors of the auditorium swung open. A team of police officers in solemn uniforms entered. The leading officer, a middle-aged man with a stern face, raised his papers and announced loudly, "We have received a complaint against Mr. Ethan Chang, CEO of Chang Corporation, for embezzlement and fraud. Mr. Ethan Chang, please come to the police station to cooperate with our investigation." The arrival of the police was the final dagger that completely extinguished all of Ethan Chang's hope. He froze, then suddenly let out a maniacal laugh. "Ha ha ha, Aurora Hong, Caden Jing, you two are really something, really something." He no longer screamed but turned to look at me, his eyes filled with venom and hatred. "Do you think you've won? I'm telling you, even if I go to jail, I won't let you live in peace." I calmly walked onto the stage directly towards him. The police tried to stop me, but Caden Jing signaled them to halt. I stood opposite Ethan Chang, only half a meter apart. I looked directly into his eyes, my voice as cold as ice. "Ethan Chang, you're wrong. I don't need to defeat you because you were never truly worthy of being my opponent." I leaned close to his ear, whispering just loud enough for the two of us to hear. "Do you know why I chose today? Because today is the anniversary of my mother's death. The day you promised her at her grave that you would take care of me forever." Ethan Chang's body stiffened. "I just wanted my mother in heaven to clearly see what kind of son-in-law she once trusted you to be." I took a step back. "And you're wrong about one more thing." I raised my hand to elegantly smooth the lapel of my suit jacket. "I won't live in unrest. On the contrary, I will live very well. I will use the very money you defrauded from investors to buy back your dilapidated company, rebuild it from the ashes you left behind. Every day you sit in prison, you'll hear news of how successful I've become. I will make your life worse than death. That is my revenge." Ethan Chang looked at me, his eyes no longer crazed, only filled with utter despair and horror. He finally understood he had poked a person he shouldn't have. The police handcuffed him and escorted him away. As he passed me, he suddenly stopped, his voice hoarse. "Aurora Hong, I beg you, spare Ryu. She's pregnant. The baby is innocent." Even at this point, he was still thinking of that woman. I didn't even bother to glance at him. "Don't worry, I won't do anything to her, because the greatest gift I have for her is to let her fend for herself in this society. With a growing belly, not a penny to her name, and the reputation of being the fiancé of a fraudster." Ethan Chang was led away, and the shareholder meeting devolved into a chaotic scene. I stood on stage, looking down at everything. Caden Jing stepped up to stand beside me. "What do you plan to do next?" he asked. I took a deep breath, savoring the air of freedom. "Start anew." I turned to look at him, a genuine smile gracing my lips for the first time. "CEO Jing, are you interested in investing in a new project? It's called Divine Realm. I guarantee profits will be 10 times higher than Horizon." Caden Jing looked at me, a spark lighting up his deep eyes. He extended his hand. "It's a pleasure, CEO Hong." I grasped his hand. The earthquake named the Cheng Corporation shareholder meeting shook the entire financial and technology world. Within 24 hours, Cheng Corporation's stock lost 90% of its value, becoming literal worthless paper. The biggest newspapers simultaneously ran headlines. Cheng Empire collapses in one morning. CEO Ethan Cheng faces 20 years in prison for fraud and embezzlement. Aurora Hong, from traitor to the revenge of the century. My name once again climbed to the top trending topics, but this time accompanied by accolades like Powerful Woman, Master of Comebacks, the thorny rose of the tech world. I sat in my new office, a minimalist yet luxurious workspace Caden Jing had prepared. Through the transparent glass, I could see the Cheng Corporation building opposite, where investors and creditors swarmed like vultures. I elegantly sipped my coffee, scrolling through the news dancing on my tablet screen. There was no overwhelming sense of triumph, just a strange calm. The battle I had pursued for months had finally ended. Just then the office door swung open without a knock. My father rushed in, no longer looking authoritative or angry, but utterly pathetic. Aurora, you have to save me, save the Hong family." He lunged, trying to grab my hand, but I quickly stepped back. All my savings, even money borrowed from friends, I poured into Ethan Cheng's shares. Now it's all gone. You talk to CEO Jing, find a way to get Ethan Cheng out. As long as he's out, the company can still be saved. I looked at the man in front of me, the man I called father. Even now, he didn't realize where he went wrong. In his eyes, Ethan Cheng was still a dragon, and I was just a tool for him to cling to. "Father," my voice was cold and decisive. "When you called to scold me, I gave you a chance to choose to believe me. You didn't choose." I walked around my desk and sat down in my CEO chair. "Today, I'm also giving you a choice. 1, you deal with the debt caused by your own greed. 2, I call security." How dare you?" His eyes bulged, his pathetic state transforming into anger. "I'm your father." "Have you ever considered me your daughter?" I countered, a question I had hidden in my heart for so many years. Or was I just an investment like Ethan Cheng's shares? "Unfortunately, father, this investment officially declares its withdrawal today." I pressed the intercom button. "Security, please escort Mr. Hong out for me. From now on, he is not on my guest list." My father was escorted out by 2 tall security guards, astonished and furious. When the office door closed, I finally allowed myself a long sigh of relief. The last link binding me to the past had been severed. A few days later, I received news about Willow Jiang. She had been evicted from her luxury apartment because she couldn't pay the rent. All the assets in her card had been frozen by the bank for investigation. Someone saw her, heavily pregnant, wandering the streets with a small suitcase, looking utterly pitiful. She had called me dozens of times. I didn't answer, just quietly blocked her number. I had said it before, I wouldn't do anything to her. To let her experience all the bitterness of life without money or a man's backing, that was the cruelest punishment. As for Julian Qi, because he was a key witness and cooperative, he received leniency from the law. After everything was over, he took the 5 million yuan I transferred and disappeared from the city. Not a bad ending for a pawn who chose the right side at the last minute. Discarding all distractions, I poured all my energy into Divine Realm. In KD Group's lecture hall, I stood before Caden Jing and his senior directors, presenting my project. "Divine Realm is not just an AI for emotion analysis," I said, my voice full of confidence. "It's a system for simulating and predicting psychology. Based on big data of behavior, it can generate thousands of the most probable future scenarios for an individual or a collective. Its applications extend beyond marketing or entertainment. It can even enter national security, forecasting social crises." The entire hall was silent, all captivated by the vision I painted. When I finished, Caden Jing was the first to applaud. He stood up, his eyes shining brightly. "CEO Hong, you haven't just created a product, you're opening a new era." He turned to the directors. "KD Group will inject unlimited capital into the Divine Realm project, establishing a subsidiary company with Aurora Hong as CEO and the largest shareholder. All the best resources of the group will be prioritized for her." Caden Jing's decisiveness and vision earned my respect. He wasn't just an investor, he was a partner on the path to conquering new heights. A year later, Divine Realm Technology officially launched its first product and immediately sent shockwaves across the globe. The company's stock, upon listing, broke all records. Aurora Hong, at 27, became the youngest self-made female billionaire in tech history. That evening, I stood in my office, looking down at the city sparkling with lights below. Caden Jing walked over, stood beside me, and handed me a glass of red wine. "Latest news," he said, his voice calm. "Ethan Cheng received an 18-year prison sentence, and all his assets were confiscated to compensate investors. I heard your father also went bankrupt and had to sell his house to pay off debts." I gently swirled my wine glass, watching the red liquid shimmer. "Is that so? Strangers' affairs don't concern me. The past is a book already read. I have no habit of rereading it." "So, CEO Hong, are you ready for the next game?" Caden Jing asked, his eyes looking at me meaningfully. I turned to look at him, the corner of my lips curving into a radiant smile, a smile of absolute confidence and freedom. "Anytime, CEO Jing. Because for a phoenix, ashes are not the end, but a place for a more glorious rebirth." 6 months after the launch of Divine Realm, I stood on the stage of the Global Technology Awards, holding the Innovator of the Year trophy. Flashlights flickered like a storm, hundreds of lenses pointed at me. I looked down and saw Caden Jing in the front row, subtly raising his glass to me, a faint smile playing on his lips. After a brief speech, I descended amidst thunderous applause. The after-party was a typical social gathering. Countless people came to congratulate me, exchange business cards, and express their desire to collaborate. I smiled politely, my mind drifting to other matters. Just then, my assistant leaned in and whispered in my ear, "CEO Hong, someone wants to see you. She says her name is Willow Jiang." I subtly raised an eyebrow. This persistent fly still wouldn't let go. "Show her to waiting room number 3, I calmly ordered. "I'll be there in 5 minutes." I told Caden Jing and then left the main hall. In the luxurious waiting room, Willow Jiang sat on the sofa, no longer appearing frail but with a sick resentment. Her belly was quite large, but the designer dress she wore clearly couldn't conceal the cheapness in her demeanor. Seeing me enter, she jumped up. "Aurora Hong, what do you want from me?" she yelled. "Where's the 5 million yuan? You promised it to me. Why did Julian Chi take all the money and run? Did you deliberately set me up?" "Oh, Julian Chi left?" I feigned surprise. "Why are you asking me about your love life? I only promised you a way out, and I delivered. Julian Chi received leniency, and you weren't prosecuted. As for not keeping your man and your money, that's an issue with your own competence. It has nothing to do with me." Willow Jiang was choked with anger. "You have to give me money. I'm pregnant. How am I supposed to live without money?" I took out my phone, tapped a few buttons, and then turned the screen towards her. On the screen was a photo of Julian Chi embracing a hot young woman on a beach in Bali, posted on his personal Instagram 3 days prior. The caption read, "Enjoying the single life." "It seems he has no intention of taking responsibility for you and the baby," I said coldly. "Besides, why don't you go find my father? I hear he's also having a tough time lately, but he's still your stepfather after all. I'm sure he wouldn't let you starve." At the mention of my father, Willow Jiang's face grew even uglier. She must have already tried, but got nothing. "Aurora Hong, don't push your luck," she screamed, attempting to rush at me, but my 2 bodyguards promptly stepped in, blocking her like 2 mountains. I took a step back, my voice as cold as ice. "Willow Jiang, I'm giving you one last piece of advice. Never appear before me again. Next time, I'm not sure I'll just talk." I turned and left, leaving her helpless screams and curses behind. What would become of her life now? I didn't care. To each their own fate, that was the fairest rule. Back at the party, Caden Jing was talking with a few industry bigwigs. Seeing me, he concluded his conversation and joined me on the balcony. "Resolved?" he asked. "Just trash," I replied. "News from prison," Caden Jing suddenly began. "Ethan Cheng was beaten up in a group fight for brawling. I hear he can no longer have children after this." I remained silent, just lightly sipping my wine. You reap what you sow. "And your father," he continued. "His investment company completely went bankrupt, buried in debt. A few days ago, someone saw him queuing for charity meals at a temple." I still said nothing. That relationship had long been severed the day he chose not to believe me. "Don't you feel anything?" Caden Jing turned to look at me, his deep eyes seeming to want to see through my soul. I looked directly into his eyes. CEO Jing, what do you think I should feel? Gloating, pity, or guilt? I shook my head, letting out a soft laugh full of freedom. None of it. The past is over. I only look to the future. Those people, those events to me now are just dust on the path I've walked. I don't even care to turn back and see where they've blown away. Caden Jing looked at me for a long moment, then he too smiled. A rare, genuine smile. You're right, look ahead. He raised his glass. So, CEO Hong, a toast to the future and to our next game. This time, the chessboard is the whole world. I clinked my glass with his, the clear sound of glass chiming. Very well, CEO Jing. Draining my glass, I went to a corner of the balcony alone, looking into the distance. My youth, my love, my trust, all had once been trampled and buried. But from those very ashes, I had risen, building an empire 1,000 times more brilliant. Ethan Chang, Willow Jiang, and my father, they all received their deserved endings. As for me, I will definitely, alongside Caden Jing, write a new story. Without him, there would be no me today.